Hello to the second part of the chapter, that is materials, metals and non-metals. Now this part will be telling you the chemical properties of the metals and non-metals which were left over in the first part. So we have here reaction with the base. Now metals when react with the base, what will happen? So for that, let us see the reaction that is going on over here. For that reason, we have to take the fresh solution of sodium hydroxide, that is 3 to 4 pellets of sodium hydroxide, add it to the water, but water should be only 5 ml. By mixing these two solutions, we will get the fresh solution of sodium hydroxide. After that, we have to add aluminium to it. A small piece would be okay. Now, this will be looking like something this. So, this test tube is possessing all of that is sodium hydroxide and water plus piece of the aluminium. Now, for this we need to check out with the help of a burning matchstick or a lighted matchstick. So, what will happen? As we have seen in the earlier section also, when it was reacting with the acid, some gas was liberated during the chemical process. In the same way, here also there will be a product that is coming out of the test tube. So, let us find out what it could be. So, here it will be the H2 again. Yes, as it has came out in the acidic reaction, the same it will be coming out in the base reaction. Now children, you know that when the hydrogen gas is liberated, what will be the reaction with the lighted matchstick? Yes, of course, it will be making a pop sound. And by this pop sound, what will happen? The matchstick will extinguish, of course. So, the matchstick is going to extinguish when the hydrogen gas is going to liberate from this chemical process. So, this is what the metals will be reacting with the base producing hydrogen gas. But let us see at the non-metals also. Now, here it is mentioned that reaction of non-metals with the base is complex. So, it is not to be studied in the standard. In higher standard, you will be studying about this. So, now let us study about the displacement reaction. Now, what is this displacement reaction? Displacement means we have to replace the other one. Means we will be having the metals reacting with the other metal and replacing the same one. So, let us see. For that we have to look out for the reactivity series, in which of the metals or which of the substance is more reactive and which one is the less reactive. After that we can see that what one will be replacing the which of the element. So, for that let us have the study of this reactivity series. We have K, that is potassium on the top, then we have the sodium, means potassium is more reactive than sodium. Now, after that we have is the Ca, that is calcium. So, sodium is more reactive than calcium. It does mean that calcium is less reactive than potassium and sodium. Likewise, if we go with the series, we have aluminium more reactive than the zinc more reactive than iron more reactive than lead more reactive than hydrogen, and likewise we go with the series. Now, here we come with the 3 of the elements which we are going to perform an experiment over here. We do have an activity 4.8 in our textbook. Now, for that we need these 3 elements to be identified. Which one is highly reactive and which one is less reactive in comparison of all of 3. So, for that we have here Zn, means zinc is more reactive as compared to the iron. So, Zn will be more reactive than iron, and then we are talking about the copper because we are using the copper in this reaction. So, after that we will have copper. Now, we know that zinc is more reactive than iron and iron is more reactive than copper. It means that copper is the least reactive in this series and zinc will be highly reactive in this series. So, let us look at what the displacement reaction actually is. For that, we need to take 5 beakers. We will be naming them as A, B, C, D and E beakers. Now, we have to add 50 ml of water in each of the beaker. After that, we have to add 1 teaspoonful of copper sulfate in first beaker, copper sulfate in the second beaker, zinc sulfate in the third beaker, iron sulfate in the fourth beaker, and again the zinc sulfate in the fifth beaker. Now we will be putting the other things, means out of these 3 things in these beakers to test the displacement reaction of the metals. For that, let us take in copper sulfate in first beaker we will be adding zinc. Now we have here zinc as highly reactive substance. In the second beaker, copper sulfate, with that we will add iron. Now in the third one, zinc sulfate is there, with it will be added with the copper, and then iron sulfate will be adding with the again copper, then zinc sulfate, with that we will be adding the iron. Now children, you can tell me that which one of the metal will be replacing which one. See, it is something like that कि अगर आप क्लास में बैठे हो और अच्छा क्लास अभी चल रहा है, आर्ट का चल रहा है या फिर आपको बहुत पसंद है वैसा क्लास चल रहा है, then what will happen? You will fight and rush to be sit on the first bench and you will just let go the other weak peoples to let go at the last benches. In the same manner, the metals will be also reacting like that. They will be acting कि जो बहादुर है, जो सबसे ज़्यादा रिएक्टिव है वो प्लेस में रहेगा और जो दूसरे जो नॉन रिएक्टिव होंगे, जो कम रिएक्टिव होंगे, they will be replaced by the highly reactive substances. Okay, so this series is very much important to understand. Likewise, zinc is highly reactive, यानी अगर वो किसी के साथ में आएगा तो वो सबको रिप्लेस कर देगा. They will not allow these 2 substances to stand over. Means zinc will be replacing iron or copper if it is placed over there in the reaction. So let us see for that what will happen in these beakers. Now in first one we have copper. Copper sulfate is acquiring the whole of the surface. Okay. Now we are adding zinc in that. Now zinc, as we know, it is very reactive than copper. So what will happen? Zinc will let go the copper to settle down because it does not want the less reactive to be in the ground. So what will happen? Zinc will tell the copper that you go, it is my turn to be stable over here. So what will happen as a result? We will get that copper will be lying down in the beaker. So here we will be seeing some copper being settling down after the reaction is over. So what will happen? Here we will find copper because zinc has now acquired the whole of the solution. It means that zinc is highly reactive in this reaction. So it will be turning as zinc sulfate now in the beaker and copper will be lying down. Now let us see in the same way in the second beaker what will happen. Again it is copper sulfate, but in that we have placed the iron fillings or iron pieces you can have. So what will happen again? As it was zinc more reactive than copper, here also iron is more reactive than copper. So what will happen? Iron will be displacing copper again because it cannot have the copper in the whole of the solution. So what will happen? Iron will be letting go the copper to be settled down and iron will take the place in the solution. So we will be getting that iron sulfate in the solution and the copper will be again settled down in the bottom of the beaker. So we can have the brownish color or reddish brown color copper settling down at the bottom of the glass beaker after the reaction is over, and there will be some change in the color of the solution also. As you can see that copper sulfate is always blue in color, but when there will be a chemical reaction going on, there will be a drastic change in the color of both the solutions. Now what will happen? We have here the change in the color will be something over here as greenish color in the first beaker, and the second one again we will be having light green color. So there will be some change in the color of the solution because zinc will be acquiring the place in the second beaker, in the first beaker, and in second beaker iron will be reacting with the copper sulfate and will be acquiring its place. So let us go with the third one where zinc sulfate is there as the solution and we have added copper. Now you know the series of the reactivity. What will happen? Zinc is highly reactive, even iron is highly reactive than copper, but copper is the least reactive one. So what will happen? Copper will be placed as it is. There will be no more reactions going on. Okay, so the copper will be as it is setting over here because it will not be reacting with zinc because it is highly reactive. तो कम रिएक्टिव है वो हाईली रिएक्टिव को कभी भी डिस्प्लेस नहीं कर सकता है. दैट इज द रिएक्टिविटी सीरीज दैट टेल्स अस. ओके, सो व्हाट विल हैपन नाउ? कॉपर विल बी एज इट इज, सॉल्यूशन कलर विल बी also as it is because there is no chemical reaction going on in the beaker C. Now let's go with the next beaker. Here we have iron sulfate in the beaker D. Means we have kept the iron fillings over here. Now what will happen? These iron fillings are added with the copper. So copper when added to the iron filling solution, iron sulfate solution, what will happen? We know the series of the reactivity. What will happen? Iron is more reactive than copper. But we have placed here copper in the solution. So copper will again not tell anything to the iron sulfate because it is highly reactive to the copper. So what will happen? Copper will be setting as it is. There will be no more chemical reactions going on in beaker D. So we can say that in beaker C and beaker D there will be no change at all. Let us see at the last beaker, that is beaker E. In that we have zinc sulfate as the solution and we have added the iron fillings over here. Means we have placed iron names or iron fillings could be working over here. Now we have to look at the series again. What is more reactive? Zn means zinc and iron. So zinc is highly reactive than the iron. So what will happen again? We know that the solution is covered by zinc. So it will not be allowing the iron to take its place. Means there will be again no displacement reaction going on. Why? Because iron is not more reactive than zinc. It is less reactive. So there will be no more reactions going on. So in this series and in these beakers we have seen that what is the displacement reaction going on and how it is going on. So let's have a small recap again. In the first beaker we have added copper sulfate, second one also copper sulfate. Okay, now we added here the zinc granules, small zinc granules we have added in the first beaker. But looking at the series we know zinc is more reactive than copper. So what will happen? Zinc has displaced the copper in the glass and thus copper has settled down and zinc has acquired the place in the solution. In the second beaker where copper sulfate was the solution, here what will happen? Iron fillings are added and according to the series of reactivity, iron is more reactive. So what will happen? Iron will displace the copper from the solution and will be settling down to the bottom as copper solution, copper pieces. So what will happen? In the C beaker, let us see what will happen. Zinc solution is there, zinc sulfate is the solution and we have added the copper pieces. But we know that according to the series, zinc is more reactive as compared to the copper. So what will happen? Copper will not be reacting with the zinc because it is less reactive as compared to zinc. So there will be no chemical reaction going on in this beaker. And in D beaker, we have added iron sulfate. So what will happen? We are adding when copper to it, according to the reactivity series, iron is more reactive than copper. So what will happen? Copper will again not react with it. So there will be no chemical reaction in the beaker D. And the last one we have zinc sulfate as the solution acquired in the beaker, but we are adding iron over there. According to the reactivity series, what will happen? The iron will not be replacing the zinc because zinc is high reactive than the iron. So this is how we go with the displacement reaction. I hope you have understand this displacement reaction very clearly. So after all these things, let us see the uses of metals and non-metals. So first of all, let us see what are the uses of metals. Now you people are aware about that what are the uses of metals. In nowadays we know that every article is possessing some or the other way some part of the metal. But let us have the look at the uses of the metals. We are having the use of the metals in the machineries, that is in industries also we are having machines being made with the metals because it is more effective and more resistive. Then we have the automobiles, of course all the bikes, all the cars and all the bicycles even are made with the help of the metals only. Next we have is the aeroplane. Now aeroplane parts are very delicate and soft, so they need to be taken care for making it with the pure metals. Otherwise, you know that on going higher up in the flying air, we cannot repair it at that moment. So it is very effectively made and very properly it has to be adjusted. Next we have is the trains. You people have seen all the trains, all the types of the trains, you have visited them. Now we have the satellites. Yes, you must have seen the movies in which we are having the satellites being working properly. So you can see that there are different types of the metals being used over there in the satellites, because they are working without any atmosphere. They do not have any of the things over there. They are working in the vacuum. So for that purpose, they need to have special type of the metals which will be working over there with the care and with the delicacy also. Next we have is the industrial gadgets. So in the industrial we are having so many of the small parts, big parts being maintained and made with the help of the metals itself. Next we have is the cooking utensils. Of course at the home you people have seen that what the cooking utensils are made up of. Either they are made up of the copper, steel, nowadays they are coming with the mixing of two metals. So these are the things that non-sticks, all these things, aluminium, all are available at the home which are completely made with the metals only. Next we are having is the water boilers. Water boilers are used in the big industries also and even at the small scale also to have the boiling of the water at different purposes. So now let us see the uses of non-metal. So non-metals are used where? You must have seen somewhere that non-metals are being used in the industries also. Yes, if they are used for the purpose, they will be usable over there. But if we will use for the common things, what are that common things? Let's have a look at that. We are having that living beings inhaling for breathing reason. Yes, what do we breathe? We breathe oxygen. We are having the plants being inhaling CO2. So these things are non-metals. Yes, you now came to know about these things. Next we have is it is used in the fertilizers to enhance the growth of the crops in the field. So whatever the fertilizers are there, they are using all the non-metals which are mixed together to form the different fertilizers for the different aspects of the plant's growth. Next one we have is the water purification. For water purification, you must have heard government is giving the chlorine tablets. That is the tablets which are to be added in the overhead tank of the houses. So that will be cleaning the water and giving us pure water which is not to be drink, but that is to be utilized in the houses for bathing purpose and for washing purpose. Next we have applied on the wounds as the antiseptic. You have seen in the first aid box at your home or at clinics that the first aid is possessing some of the purple colored liquid. That is the liquid which is having the non-metals inside it, which is used for the antiseptic in different purposes when you have got some rashes or wounds in your body. Next and last one we are having is the crackers. It is used in the crackers, the Diwali crackers which you are bursting every time is possessing the non-metals. It will be having some of the non-metals inside it. Maybe could be the sulfur, having some different non-metals with it. So here you can see that non-metals and metals uses we have seen. Now we have seen the chemical reactions of different metals with the other metals. Now if the substance do not break down by either cooling or by heating or by electrolysis, then that substance would be known as element. These things are the basis of atoms, elements, compounds, but you people now be knowing about that, because here we have the definition saying that the substance that cannot be broken by the chemical reaction, by cooling, heating or by electrolysis, they will be known as elements. Now we have the examples for that. Sulfur cannot break down because they are of the same atoms. Iron, because they are possessing the same atoms, they will not be breaking down. Their bonding is very close to each other and it is very high, so it will not be breaking down. Carbon is another example which says that these elements will not be breaking down very easily. Now we know that all these elements are made with the atoms. Now what are these atoms? It is the smallest unit. When they will combine together, they will form the element. So atoms are the base of every element. So these are the smallest unit which will construct all these things. Now these atoms will be as it is, whether they are in the any of the state, whether they are in the solid state, liquid state or in the gaseous state. Now here we have the examples for that. Suppose we take sulfur. If we are taking it in the stone type, then what will happen? It is a solid substance, or in the powder form it is available. So that is a solid substance. So there also it will be sulfur element only. There will be no change in that. But if you will heat it, it will convert a little bit. It will become a liquid substance. Now this liquid is also again the sulfur. It has not broken down in any of the other parts, but it is changed into the state of the matter. So from solid it has just converted into the liquid, but still it is the sulfur only. Now after some time, still if you will be burning it continuously, what will happen? It will convert from liquid into the gaseous state. But if the gases also, when we collect them in the glass jar, we will find that still it is the sulfur only. It has not changed in the atoms or the elements which is possessed. So this is what we are going to have, means atoms will be the same, whatever the state of matter they possess, but they will not be converting into the different atoms. It will be possessing the same, because it is the base of all the substances and elements. Now here we have the classification of the elements in the universe. Now how we can classify the elements in different aspects? Here we have first one, that is called the metals, as we have studied that in the chapter. The next portion that comes is the non-metals. The non-metals and metals we have studied simultaneously in this recent chapter. Now here comes a new word in your mind, that is called the metalloids. So elements in the world can be classified into these three parts. Now what are they? Metals you are aware about, non-metals also you are aware about. Now something about the metalloids, let us know. Now metalloids is the combination of metals and non-metals. Yes, it is addition of metals and non-metals which is possessing the properties of both of them will be named as metalloids. See, in the world, when naturally available things are available to us, they will be in the sometimes in the mixed form of metals and non-metals. That substances will be known as the metalloids. So here we end up with the chapter, but before that, let's have a small recap of the whole of the chapter that we have studied. So in part 1 we have studied about the physical properties of the metals and non-metals. So let us have a look at that. We have studied about the metals. What are the physical properties of the metals that we have studied? Was it is malleable, means it can be changed into thin sheets. It was ductile, means it could be converted into wires. Then we have studied it was sonorous. Sonorous means it can make some sound when it falls down or when strike with each other. Then we have studied about that it is hard, means it is metal. It is good conductor of heat and electricity, means it is metal. Then which is the other portion of that, means other side of the metals, all the properties which possessed by the metals, the opposite of that will be possessed by the non-metals. So soft, no lustrous, poor conductors of heat and electricity, these are known as the non-metals. Then we have the exceptions also of the metal, that is sodium and potassium are the metals which are soft, which are not hard as the other metals do. So they are the exception in that case. And even we had the mercury also as an exception, because that is liquid at room temperature. So it is also an exception in the metals part. Next we have studied was the chemical reaction with the metals and non-metals. In that we had about the oxygen. When the metals react with the oxygen, we have taken the rust of the iron, we have taken the sulfur, also we have taken the magnesium strip and their rust. So we have reacted and seen that metals will be reacting and producing the base after the oxides of the metal, and non-metals when reacted with the oxygen, they form the acidic nature. Then we had seen about the reaction with the water. Now what was the reaction? Sodium could not persist in the water, so it starts burning and it evaporated also when it was added to the water. Whereas phosphorus, which is a non-metal, when which was kept in the water, it is very safe in that, but it could not be taken out because non-metals will not be reacting with the water. That was what we have seen in the reaction with water of metals and non-metals. Then we have seen reaction with the acids. Now what happens with the acids when they are reacted with the metals? They will be liberating hydrogen gas in the chemical reaction, and some of the copper, suppose we have the copper which was not reacting with the hydrochloric acid, but it was reacting with the sulfuric acid. So So it was there, and then we have seen that the gas was liberated. Then this gas was liberated. We have seen that the lighted matchstick, when kept close to the mouth of the test tube, it was liberating hydrogen gas. So what will happen? Because of the pop sound, it will be starting extinguishing. So what will happen? This will tell us that the hydrogen gas is being liberated as the chemical reaction. Now reaction with the bases also we have seen, and also that also the same thing was happening. Metals were reacting with the base and producing the hydrogen gas as a byproduct, but it was not possible to have the reaction with the non-metals and the base because it was a complex reaction. Then we had seen about the displacement reaction. In that we have seen the reactivity series where the metals were having the reaction with each other, but highest reactive metal was on the top, that is the potassium, and then we went to the series accordingly. So then we have seen the displacement reaction with the zinc, iron and copper in the 5 beakers, that you know very well. Then we had here the uses of metals and non-metals, and now we submit up with our chapter with all these things, that is what is element, what is metal, and what are the types of the elements that we can find out in the universe, that is metal, non-metal and the metalloids. Hope you have understood the chapter very nicely. Thank you.